Okay, we are live. Let's start with a brief recap. We are learning the laws of benching together. We started by speaking about the idea of benching over a cup of wine. Some were particular to do this even when they benched by themselves, but the standard practice is to do it. It's not an obligation, but already from 3 people and up to 10 people, if we lead the benching over a cup of wine or grape juice, that makes it all the more honorable. We did mention that you'll first fill up the cup, then you wash your hands by machronim, and then you continue with the benching. And then we spoke a lot about there are actually 10 things to bear in mind to make the benching done in the best way possible. I don't know if I could list all 10 right now, but the cup should be rinsed and it should be whole, and it should be picked up or received in 2 hands, showing that it's something that you're longing for and that is precious to you. And then you hold it just up with your right hand to show that it's not a burden. You lift it off the table, at least a hand's breadth, to allow everybody to see this wine. And you look at the wine to make sure that you can concentrate. What else did I forget? Those were a couple of things about the wine. Now, who gets the honor of leading the benching? So special honors can be granted to a kohen, to a Torah sage, or to somebody who is who makes an honest profit and gives lots of tzedakah. So whoever that is, we allow him to lead the benching. He starts by saying, "Come, let us say the blessings." Havlon v'nivrech, which Jared corrected me yesterday after the class, is actually not Hebrew but Aramaic, which means let us come and make and bench. This actually has a Kabbalistic significance, believe it or not, or in the Yiddish colloquial, Rabbi said, we will mention, since we're about to engage in blessing Hashem, by this preparation, hazmana, which is to prepare, or to in preparation or invitation, we are imbuing ourselves with an added level of holiness, thus shaking off the negativities, the negative elements of this world. And then we have somewhat of a response up and down until the person leading the benching starts to bench. He benches loud. Once upon a time, everybody would just listen and answer Amen. But now we're worried that people are not going to catch every word and might get caught up in some other conversation around the table. So we hand out benches and everybody is able to bench on their own, either in Hebrew or in English. Don't feel bad about benching in English. There is actually an opinion that if you don't know the meaning of the words, you actually don't fulfill the mitzvah by benching in Hebrew. However, there's a second opinion that no, the Hebrew is such a holy and special language that even if you don't know the exact meaning, you just understand the general meaning, you still do fulfill your obligation, and that seems to be the general custom. But the point that I'm making is that certainly there is nothing wrong, and that there is even something good about benching in whatever language it is, provided that you follow with the exact wording that our sages have shared with us, so that we can bench in the best way possible. So the person leading says it aloud, and everybody else says it together with him word by word. If I remember correctly, there was a time when the Rebbe stopped benching the first paragraph aloud because there were people that, instead of benching along with him, wanted to just answer Amen. And he was worried that if they did that, they wouldn't hear properly and wouldn't fulfill the mitzvah. So he actually stopped it to make sure everybody does it themselves as well, and they don't just rely on him. So there's some discussion in the Shulchan Aruch about that. I mean, there's an argument that says, 1 second, the whole idea is that we're benching together. If everybody's going to bench by themselves, then maybe we lose that unity. But no, the bottom line is that even if everybody says the words by themselves, as long as we're doing it all together as a unit, then we have the power of zimun, of benching together. And then I think we're up to halacha number 8, halacha ches. So we finished benching the 4 blessings. There are 4 long blessings. And now it is time for the person leading the benching to drink the cup of wine over which he benched. So after Birkas Hamazon, the leader makes a bracha on the cup over which he said Birkas Hamazon, over which he benched, and he drinks a revius, which I said is at least 86 ml from it. Why does he drink that much? So that he will be definitely, so that he'll be able to make an after blessing on that wine. If the contents of cups of those who have assembled have become blemished, meaning it was the other people had individual cups and their cups had wine, but their wine had been drinking from, then he could actually pour a little bit of fresh wine into the cups to top it up. And he could say Bar Priagafen, and they could answer Amen, or they could make their own bracha. But here we have a concept that the person leading the benching dishes out a little bit of his wine to everybody that is present. This is called Kois Shel Bracha, a cup of blessing. The Gemara speaks about the person sending it also to his wife. So we see there the importance of Shalom Bayis. And to all those that are present, since he just used this wine in such an honorable way to bless Hashem, so it is considered honorable wine. And so the person leading the benching is able to dish it out for everybody to have a sip. This is not kind of like what we do Friday night by Kiddush. In both instances, it's not a requirement. It's rather just an opportunity to share the blessings. We've just made a bracha over some wine. This wine is special wine. It has bracha within it. And so therefore, we want to share it with everybody. And so we dish it out. Okay. There's a whole discussion about that. If the person leading the benching does not want to drink the wine, some say that he could give it to somebody else to make the bracha Borei Pri Hagafen and drink it. Others say that this shouldn't be done. If he was the one leading it and he was doing it over a cup of wine, then he should drink it. You know, you holding it the whole benching, getting ready, and then to pass it on is not ideal. And so therefore, if somebody doesn't feel like they'll be able to finish off their meal over a glass of wine, and they'd rather have somebody else lead the benching. Again, you can have the concept of leading the benching like on a typical Friday night, even without wine. But we're saying that it is like a mitzvah. There's an added beauty, honorable, in an honorable way over a cup of wine. Are you with me? Yes, good. I'm seeing that. My UPS is still standing in good stead. Okay. Now, if two people ate together, so we want to have this unit. You used to hearing about a minyan of 10 people davening together. But when it comes to benching, already 3 people create this special energy, the special unit. And so therefore, if 2 people ate together, then it is a mitzvah. It's a good thing for them to find a third person to join in so that they could make a zibud, so that they could bench together as a team. Now, if the third person arrived after the first 2 people already finished eating, so as long as they would still possibly eat some more, then even if they don't eat some more, but they would eat some more, then it's considered like they're not done yet. And so by him coming along and having a little bite, he can now participate with them in this unified zibud, in this unified benching. So they'll give him a kazayas of food, about a kazayas is not much, it's maybe 30 grams or so if you're going by weight. And he'll have a little bite of whatever it is, whether it be an apple or even a drink. In fact, according to some authorities, even if he drinks a cup of water, he now has joined in the meal and will be able to participate in the zibud, in the benching. Others say that water is not sufficient. It needs to be at least somewhat of an honorable drink. You could ask the local Orthodox rabbi, as there are different opinions about that. But the idea is that you want to have 3 people eating together, and you've invited the third person to join in, so you could bench as a team. So he's not going to do the full benching if he didn't have bread, but you will still be able to start the benching by saying Rabbi Simon benchen, and since he's not going to be doing the full benching, he might actually say a different responsa. But I think as long as it's eaten something, it says the same responsa, but but he won't need to do the full benching. He'll just do whatever that short abbreviated benching, which is done when you're just having a snack, which does not involve bread. Okay. Once the first two people have already washed mayim achronim, they've already washed their hands in preparation to benching, then it means that they're done eating. Once they're done eating, it doesn't help to ask the third guy to participate because you're not eating as a team, because you've already concluded. Once you've concluded, if he's only going to eat at that point, then that doesn't work. So that is as far as finding a third person. Now, on the other hand, you don't want to break it up. So if you have three men that are eating together, so since you have the special mitzvah of benching as a team, having a zimun, so one person wouldn't be allowed to disappear on the first two. In fact, even if you have 4 or 5 people, that one person shouldn't bench by himself because he's going to lose out on the group benching, on benching as a team. He should rather stick around. Obviously, if it's impossible for him to stick around and he has to go, he'll go. And then he'll be losing out, but the others will still be able to bench as a team. As opposed to if there are exactly 3 people and he leaves early, then the others will lose out on this benching together. He says if you have 6 people present, then you could break up into 2 teams. You could have 3 people benching together if they want to head out earlier, and the other 3 that still want to stick around and eat some more can bench together as well. So you could kind of have clusters of 3, but that's provided that you get up to 9. Once you have 10 men eating together, we already mentioned the specialty of having 10 people, that you actually mention Hashem's name when beginning the benching. You say, Nevarich Elokeinu shachalnu v'shaloi. So if you have 10 people present and one person decides to disappear, then all the other 9 will not be able to bench a team in the honorable way that they could have. And so therefore that 10th person should not leave, not just for his own sake, but for the others' sake as well. If you have 20 or more people, then again, you could get into clusters of 10 and you won't be losing anything. That should also work. Okay. You have a few more minutes. If the person that was leading the zimun made a mistake and he forgot to mention Hashem's name while he was leading the benching, he had a missed opportunity to invoke the name of Hashem and he didn't. And they forgot as well. So you can't go back and lead the benching again afterwards. Once it's done, it's done. Once you've already done that zimun, once you've already invited everybody to bench together, so if you started without Hashem's name, then it is too late. But if he forgot to say Hashem's name, but they didn't yet respond, so then he would be able to correct himself and mention Hashem's name, and they would respond with Hashem's name. Okay. Now, number 14, what happens if not everybody ate bread? Some people ate bread and some people washed and some people didn't. As long as you have 7 people, which is oh, wow, we're back on. As long as we have a vast majority of people that have eaten bread, that would be 7 out of 10, then you would be able to bench in the special way that you bench with 10 people together and mention Hashem's name. And finally, from the next number of halachas, 15 to 23, speak about teaming up. So at what point is it considered like you've eaten together, and at what point is it not considered like you've eaten together? So that kind of takes us onto a new discussion. So maybe we'll break over here. And please God, next week, we will begin by discussing different scenarios of how different people that were eating somewhat together or not at all together. What about the guy that has just robbed a bank? Can you include him in the benching? We'll speak about that. All different scenarios of who can be included and who can't be included. Please God, stay tuned next week, same time, same place. Wishing you a wonderful